federal judge issued a bombshell ruling saying that the Biden administration likely violated the First Amendment by policing social media. And he's now restricting some officials from communicating with many of big tech's most popular platforms. The bombshell ruling comes after attorneys general from Louisiana and Missouri sued the Biden administration for allegedly suppressing political speech online. It was most frequent during the height of the pandemic. And some of the most scrubbed topics include COVID health policy, COVID origins, and Hunter Biden's laptop. District Judge Terry Doughty wrote in his scathing opinion, quote, "If the allegations made by plaintiffs are true, the present case arguably involves the most massive attack against free speech in the United States history during the COVID-19 pandemic, a period perhaps best characterized by widespread doubt and uncertainty. The United States government seems to have assumed a role similar to an Orwellian Ministry of Truth." Now, the Biden administration is expected to appeal that preliminary injunction, but former National Intelligence Director John Radcliffe thinks such an appeal wouldn't hold much weight.
I think that language reflects that this was a stunning rebuke, but also an appropriate one. And I will tell you, my take is that this is going to hold up on appeal because everything that the plaintiffs in this case allege has been proven largely to be true. Americans' ability to engage in honest debate about it was suppressed. And so you have these agencies with social media working to suppress the truth and amplify lies.
You know, Cheryl, I spoke with a former digital official from the Trump White House, and I asked, was this ever done? And I was told that never had the Trump White House asked to take down a tweet that they disagreed with. Now, you could say take down an impersonation account, that violates Twitter policies, but not take down something because of viewpoint disagreement. And what was so galling to this digital official was the coercion element. We put some of the coercion up for our viewers to look at. These are from Biden officials. Two social media companies cannot stress the degree to which this needs to be resolved immediately. Please remove this account immediately. Hey, folks, wanted to flag the below tweet, and I'm wondering if we can get moving on the process and have it removed ASAP. You are hiding the ball. I've been asking you guys pretty directly for a clear accounting. It's as if social media was a fourth branch of government.
Talk about bullying.
Yes.
Those are the examples right there. The White House is trying to bully social media companies. You don't own Google. You don't own Twitter.
Yep.
You don't own Facebook. I applaud this judge in this ruling. Finally, we're going to have a true discussion about free speech. This is why there was so many that were happy when Elon Musk bought Twitter. And remember, the Twitter files, we already know that this has been happening. It's already been exposed in the Twitter files. So at least it's now going into the court systems. And I'm applauding the fact that now, at least for now, the White House cannot communicate with these companies. The C in capitalism comes to mind right now. My name is Cheryl, but the C in capitalism is screaming right now because enough. Separate government and corporations, enough. Church and state, fine. Government, corporation, split.
And the P in politics is coming to mind because of this.
It's Sesame Street.
January 23rd, 2021, Biden just takes office. And what do? Remove this tweet from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You can read the message there. RFK Jr., of course, went on 2 years later to become a chief political opponent, Tammy, of the President of the United States.
Right. You know, what's interesting here, too, and you were a victim of this as well.
Yes.
On your Twitter account. Clearly, it was political. I think their sense was, well, we're not doing it as the government, but clearly there was collusion and they were using social media as proxies to control speech. So, yes, we've all known this, but it does take getting to court first. We have example after example, opponents of the president, conservatives. The judge made that very clear. And so it's a huge decision because Americans have been wondering, the lack of legitimacy of the government, the trust in government is at really a historic low. And there's a sense of, well, everything's lost. Well, it's not lost. Right? This is why you've got the court system. It does take longer. We've got to be able to do it. And then things like this, Americans recognize it. I'm wondering, though, about the appeal, because perhaps they wouldn't win on the appeal, or they would, and then it would go to the Supreme Court, which is what certainly the left does not want once again. They're so worried about the Supreme Court because this is the judicial system that can stop them. It's meant to look at these kinds of behaviors and say, This is the government. It's inappropriate, directly related to the First Amendment. You can be involved and put somebody out there to contradict information you don't like, but there's also cutouts. The judge was fair. There's a cutout on certain other issues regarding national security or foreign interference, but they can't just do this against conservatives because they don't like what we're saying.
No, and some of this went on during the Trump administration, not at the direction of President Trump, but unaccountable bureaucrats, as they would call the deep state. You're right. I was removed from Twitter when I was White House press secretary for sending out the New York Post story.
It was insane.
Yeah, and now we learned, Dr. Siegel, there were these meetings between the FBI and social media companies to talk about misinformation. Okay, fine, you can have those meetings. But what is galling about this is now we know the Hunter Biden laptop was verified, and the FBI did not correct social media on that point. I spoke with Attorney General Jeff Landry on Fox and Friends. Here's what he had to say. He brought this suit.
FBI knew that the Hunter Biden laptop was real, and yet they told the social media platforms that to be on the lookout for Russian interference. And then the Hunter Biden laptop story comes out. They never go back and tell the social media companies, oh, this is a real thing.
So they let the companies believe the laptop was Russian disinformation.
And that's part of the whole ministry of truth idea, that we decide what's real and we decide what you have to know. And if it undermines our security, like the Hunter Biden laptop, you don't get to know. And this applied across the board with COVID, because the idea that we knew that they knew the facts, and if you didn't agree, you have to be suppressed on social media. Well, they didn't have the facts right? We've been going over how COVID origins, still don't know, and we're still concerned it came from a lab, but Dr. Fauci and others were suppressing that
Yes.
idea.
And a lot of doctors were silenced
Yes.
at the time
not me,
on Twitter.
but a lot of doctors were silent. And the same thing is true, by the way, with the vaccines and with the idea of natural immunity. These are discussable issues, and once you decide you know and they don't know, and you're on high and the others are misinforming, that is so dangerous. That's against the principles of this country.
And absolutely. And talking from a business perspective, Jerry, I mean, we can flash to the wall. What's so concerning is here you have social media Meta representative talking about a partnership with the federal government. And then on the flip side, here you have the federal government talking about a partnership. We are partners here with social media. They were doing the bidding of the White House.
Absolutely right. And I agree completely with Cheryl, who's saying there's got to be some kind of separation here. There is no doubt. I do feel like I'm living in the pages of George Orwell's 1984. This is a place where there's a certain kind of language you're supposed to use. Other language is not acceptable. It's frightening to me. And I'm glad to see all of this coming out. I'm glad to see people talking about it and starting to realize, hey, there's not one viewpoint that's okay. You've got to have multiple views. This is America.
Yeah, and I have some language for the Biden White House. Unconstitutional. Have you ever heard of the First Amendment?
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.